an introduction to a character tuning according to Heros Pavlos. That's my name, my artistic name, and it connects coordination exercises from various sports, like tennis, table tennis, badminton and fencing, because these are my major sports, maybe also skiing, but it is in winter. This is for the summer. I've been very good in fencing in my young age. I spent actually 15 years in those famous gladiator schools of professional sport in the Eastern Europe in 1970s. Okay, and then I started to play tennis and I became a physiotherapist, and I studied in depth the mechanism and phenomenology also of human motion, which mechanism can be measured and looked upon from outside, whereas phenomenology of body and body motion is a very difficult subject, and in the philosophy it also dominates some of the important studies in the modern times now, like Merleau-Ponty and even Heidegger, Nietzsche, and above all my great tutor from books. I mean, Ludwig Reich is a German philosopher who is the founder of scientific graphology. That is, when writing, you have to move your hand spontaneously, usually, because if you don't know you are going to be tested, then you do not watch your hand as you write. And then the experienced graphologist can judge the traits of your character out from the unconscious motion of your hand and also from the trace in writing. So this is what I call character tuning through the exercise of the body, and it is being offered on very many levels according to the need of the client, because I have this experience of about 30 years of working in physiotherapy on all kinds of levels, from professional sport coaching to cancer clinics and psychosomatic clinics to children, grown-ups, whatever you wish. I have seen, whatever you can imagine, from type and profession. I've been working with farmers directly on the spot, on their farms, Europe-wide, in the field of ergometry. That is, how do we move while working, so that our spine does not suffer. And so also in sport I've been then promoting the art of ambidexterity, that is, using both hands in sport as far as it is possible, and even in the working professions, working both hands, because it's good for your spine. Now, I call it character tuning, or we could call it also body and soul tuning. In the unreflected, philosophically unreflected offerings of courses of this type, they always talk about personality coaching. Now, in the realm of phenomenology, personality is always connected with the ego, and the consciousness and self-consciousness and analytical thinking. It's the persona, it's the mask you wear so that you know who you are. That is your ego. And that is also something which is a hindrance for a spontaneous expression of the soul and the body. And that is why, for the spontaneous expression of your sport motion, working motion, so that exactly like a graphologist studies the personality, not the personality, but the character traits from the handwriting, he sees there is a certain kind of hindrance in the straight flow of the motion of the hand, or somebody is pushing too hard on the tip of the pen somewhere. And so these are all the traits of the character that have been caused by the pressure of the persona, of the ego. Ne? So that's why I talk about character tuning or body and soul tuning, because basically we want, or I offer those clients who deem it desirable to return back to the childish spontaneity of motion and feeling. We know very well that on the high level of professional sport, this is exactly the goal. Because after the young tennis player or the fencer or whatever starts his professional career, he's been through some 10-15 years of rigorous training where he had to, be pushed, and his ego was stressed very much. And also in the early competitions, he wants to win, and so the ego is working hard and hard, and then he reaches a certain level, and then he can't improve. Okay, and the fact is that good trainers know that the best action in sport is a kind of unconscious answer of the body to a stimulus, né? Like your best forehand and backhand. It happens to every player, to each player, that sometimes he makes such a wonderful hit now because suddenly everything fits, his motion, the swing, and he says, wow, and this is it. This was the natural flow of the motion. And we want to come back to it, né? By taking apart. Basically, my method is also connects physiotherapy, the analysis of motion, which is very important, and can't be done, scientifically, in the sense that you just take some computer and camera and you watch somebody, and then you make a film, and then you make an analysis, and you sit down and you make, graphic expression of it. No. This is a kind of an analytical approach which does not comply with the phenomenological approach. We have the soul and the body, which expresses itself in motion. Okay, and we judge naturally all humans and all animals and even natural phenomena by looking at the motion. If the trees are swaying very hard, and then we know there is some storm. No? If the tiger is sitting without motion and looking at us, we sense danger. No? Okay, and if a girl on the horizon walks in a very, elastic way, we dream about romances, and so and so. Okay, motion is motion of the body is expression of the soul. In the phenomenology I adhere to, body is always an expression of the soul, and soul is the meaning of the body. Okay, and the persona, the ego, and the consciousness is something which disturbs this harmony. As we see in children, all children are, spontaneous, and from some time around the second year of their age, they suddenly change. Until that time, they talk about, like, Peter is hungry, Peter wants to have taste, Peter wants to play, Peter is not here, or something. And then suddenly it happens that they say, I want this, I don't want that. I am not hungry, or I am hungry. So this ego has been born. No? Okay, and then follows consciousness, self-consciousness, and role playing starts to develop. Children understand then very quickly how to play certain games with their parents and friends to achieve their goals. It is unconscious. It is still unconscious ego, no? And slowly develops more and more. And in today's society, in 2021, when there is so much pressure on competition and effectivity, then the ego becomes so stressed that it actually becomes pathological, and it disturbs the natural flow of the motion of your body. And we have skeletal muscles that move our legs and arms and keep the trunk and head in position due to the muscles of the center of the body around the spine. But we also have deep muscle structures, like those deep muscles around the spine, but also all our metabolism or processing of nourishment. Heartbeat is a muscle, heart is a muscle, and the large intestine is a muscle, and the diaphragm, which is important for breathing, is also a muscle, and they move also. And the way they move is an expression of our soul. If you have a calm breathing, if you have a good digestion, there are philosophers like Nietzsche who would say even that a lot of philosophical systems in the history of mankind are a result of bad nutrition and bad digestion, or a bad position of the body while philosophizing. Okay, so these involuntary muscle motions of our inner organs, which basically are the metabolism, okay, and if they are negatively affected by the rigid structure of the ego, then it becomes dangerous. You become ill, seriously ill. You can be on the surface. Your motion loses its fluidity, and in the depths, the organs lose their fluidity. Okay, on the surface, we have mechanical trouble, and your sport doesn't run well, or you are not happy. Everybody who is a passionate tennis player or table tennis player, or skier or fencer knows that. Well, I don't care if I lose against a better opponent. When I have the feeling I did a nice fight, this was a nice fight, I looked good, and I made some elegant motions, I was satisfied. And on the contrary, if you win against a weak opponent, and you have lost your nerve, and you have played terribly, and been working very hard like a mechanical monster, then even if you win, you are not happy. It is not pay off. So, what we want to achieve with this is a kind of bioenergetic, we could call it, psychosomatic tuning of body and soul via sport approach. We do not sit down like a Freudian psychoanalyst and start to talk about troubles while not moving. We follow the way of Wilhelm Reich, who would suggest, who was the father of bioenergetics, say, yeah, well, if there is some trouble in your soul, you have to change the motion of your body, and it will have a positive influence. So, my coaching is then being offered to patients, people who feel they have some trouble in body or in soul. So classical physiotherapy and psychotherapy combined, or to sportsmen who want to tune up and improve their style because they feel this is the maximum I can achieve, and now I have to become a kind of magical sportsman, who uses the unconscious more, also the power of the soul should not be hindered by the effect of the ego. You know that you have a match ball and your ego is high because you know when I don't do this now I'm going to lose. I have to win this ball, and then exactly because you want too much you make a mistake. Nah? Whereas if you would not know, sometimes even you can experience it, that you lose the count of the game, nah? And you play like, you know, very relaxed, and suddenly the judge says it's all over. I mean, you win, okay, this game or maybe the match. Nah? So you say, what? I didn't notice. Yeah, you have forgotten, and your ego was not there, okay? So, and on the highest or the deepest level of this training, we want to have recourse to the Taoist philosophy and the Qigong, and Tai Chi exercises, where it is possible when the ego is removed. We use also Zen meditation. Okay, so we have Zen meditation, we have Taoist philosophy, and we have Tai Chi and Qigong motion exercises, and we try to diffuse the organismic soul that we have as human beings with the, let us say, according to Albert North Whitehead, with the large organismic soul of the nature, of the wind, of the lakes, of the rivers, of the mountains, of the sky, of the rocks, and even of animals. So that's why our trainings and our coachings are always in beautiful nature, and they are not exactly structured. They are not bordered again by time or space. It should flow, it should flow, and so you should have at least 3 hours or 2 hours, the minimum at least, for, you know, an open end would be the best. Open end would be the best, because you don't know where the development is going. If you get into some deep level of experience, then it is stupid to stop it now and say, well, now we have we put it into memory, and then next time we shall continue, and then next time maybe you will have to work for a year, instead of going to a depth experience of one series of hours, you know, the compact seminar, what is called a compact seminar. Okay. So you see, there is a philosophical approach which can be spoken about for those who are interested, but does not have to be spoken about. And when I work with children, I definitely do not speak about it. There is a constant change of methods, because I look at you like a whole mosaic of motion, of soul, of ideas, of the surroundings, and try to make you perfect, make you look good, nice, even like somebody like a mannequin or an actor who would like to tune up his position, his motion, his expression, okay, can apply for this coaching, because you know that the way you speak, the way you move is very important for those who sell, so to say, their outside, and if the inside is not, okay, if you do not have kind of pleasure on your own inside, then also the outside is not going to be persuasive. Okay, so, and this is the way I work. You see, I have studied philosophy, I have studied linguistics for 30 years now at the universities here in Germany, and also in my old home in the Czech Republic. Stop, there is an airplane. So the airplane is flown by over the Lake Constance here, over the island of Mainau in southern Germany. And See, I was watching it and I felt like, this vibration of the combustion motor up in the sky in this blue spring morning. Now he's coming back. It's a disturbance of the soul and of the body of the late March sky here, and the birds are singing like, they are loving it and they're enjoying it, the coming of the spring, and there's sun inside, and there is this kind of tension among the trees that are waiting to burst out and blossom, no? And suddenly this is all really kind of wavy. This is a kind of multi-faceted kind of colors and forms and sounds and heat and smells. Now it's all like waves thrown through one another, and then suddenly you hear a monotonous, regular sound of a combustion engine. And you can take it as a metaphoric picture of the ego disturbing your body and soul. Your body and soul is the nature of spring. It wants to sprout, it wants to move, it wants to look good, smell, color, motion, and no end. It goes like that until the planet will turn around and the sun, which is up there, will be over there in the west and setting, and the darkness will come and the night will come, and then the body of the earth and the birds and the trees and the grass and all the little beetles, and they'll lie down and sleep. Okay, so this is it without disturbance. And the motor of the combustion engines is your ego, and says, now we have a straight line, we have to start, we have to finish, we have to get up, we have to buy the fuel, etc. And we have to work for it, and we have to report about it to somebody who's on the ground to control our flight. So, there is no spontaneous expression. And if you do it only like that in your life, then you become burned out, because this is the great kind of discovery I have made in studying the biocentric phenomenology of Ludwig Klages and maybe even Heidegger and Nietzsche, that all the expressions of your ego are using the bioenergy of your soul and body. The ego, I mean, it may seem probably logical what I'm saying, but sometimes we feel like the ego which we have is something separate and something, commanding and something immortal and divided from the body and soul. Somehow. That in reality, it is a kind of a virus, a kind of ripple in the field. If you imagine the soul as a field, as a morphogenetic field, which is now quite popular in the realm of this morphogenesis by Rupert Sheldrake, an English biologist. So if you imagine the body like an expression of a morphogenetic field, energetic field, and the soul as this field, then the ego is a kind of disturbance which hits it with this, straight line, continuous sound, regular burning in this combustion engine, mechanical motion. And it uses up the energy of the morphogenetic field, so that if you stay a long time in this modus of analytical living and thinking and moving and striving and great willpower and kind of timetable all the time, then it will burn out the natural fire of your soul and your body. Okay, you must feel it now. We talk. Everybody's talking about his burnout, and a mistake is the ones decide, I must be healed, I must get strong again, I must renew my power, and then there are so many programs to do it, so many programs. Now these are frequently, again, ego programs. You can even read advertisement, come to our place, to our wellness center or hotel, you can get 200% of relaxation, of wellness. Okay, there's nothing more is possible basically if you have already 200%, and then you come there and you get a leaflet where you have every day such a program, that you really get stressed to make it all, man. So our approach is different, while understanding that the burning of your soul energy and your body energy is caused by this willpower and exact structure of the ego. So we have to be spontaneous, and that is not easy, because if you really want to achieve, this may seem a contradiction. It's like working in a Zen garden. If you want to be a Zen gardener, then you have to connect spontaneity with exactness in a certain way. You have to prepare the fields, you have to prepare your plants, you have to prepare this secluded area in the monastery garden, or in your house, the garden. You have to study about the Zen gardening. And if you have everything ready, which costs a lot of willpower and organization, then you have to let it fall down, all. And you enter this garden and you simply let go. So this is the combination of structure and spontaneity, basically. Okay, and that's why I talk about this in larger extent, because I was thinking about how should I prepare such seminars and such coachings. And I then was saved by Nietzsche, a philosopher, who says, I have to be unprepared to be good, you see. As soon as you are too much prepared, you have a kind of timetable and you have a kind of list of things to do. Then you are outside of the dynamic stream of reality. Okay? You look around nature, it always is living, it's changing, and metabolism functions all around, and nature is living simply. Nobody cares, nobody comments, nobody plans. Everything is happening now. And so Nietzsche understood this. If you want to be kind of in flow with nature, we must not prepare it. But on the other side, if you want to come to my seminar or to my coaching, you expect that you will get something, basically. we are not so far that everybody would be a spontaneous genius in all kind of realms of body, soul, and cognitive thinking. So, what I can offer you is a rich field of experiences, because, as I've said, I have spent 30 years of working in the field of physiotherapy on all kinds of levels, from professional sport till kind of old people's houses which cannot even move, young and old, and all kinds of professions and so. I have spent those 15 years in the gladiator school of Eastern Europe in the 70s, 80s, where you can't forget this. This is a kind of a great privilege to be selected by professional kind of theoreticians of sport, and then being promoted with enormous power and money and intent, because at those times the socialist sportsman should actually become the Superman, the Nietzschean Superman, and should prove that the socialist social system is much better than the capitalist. Ne? Well, we didn't care about it as children. We didn't know even what was going on. We were simply happy that we can do so much and that we get so much attention and promotion. Okay, so this is what I have in my stock, and also the 30 years of study of philosophy, phenomenology, existentialism, and a large experience in traveling, and so we can join this all together now. It can take any direction you can imagine. It can, sometimes people start to play on the tennis wall. I even don't know them yet, and I say, look, you have this problem now, you don't move your wrist at all, so you have to make these exercises, and I do with them some wrist exercises completely without a tennis racket. No? And then I say, okay, now you understand what goes down. Now let us play table tennis for some time, or just go with the table tennis racket and the ball on it. Now maybe even a tennis ball. No? And you can find a lot of videos on YouTube where I show these exercises, now mostly in German, but you can always understand the exercises. And then, then we move this wrist and the racket and the ball on it, and then we play the table tennis, and then we discover that the coordination of the pelvis axis and the shoulder axis does not align, because you have to have a certain rotation in the upper body when you want to play smoothly any kind of table tennis or tennis. So I said, okay, stop, let's make exercises for these two axes. And then we discover there is a pain in the left shoulder blade, and then we discovered that there is a cohesion and contraction on the left shoulder blade. That's why the whole axis does not move, the upper body does not move smoothly. So we must change into physiotherapy or even massage and so on. And during that treatment we can talk about the theory, and then we discover, according to Wilhelm Reich, all those hindrances of our soul condense down into the somatic part, into the body, as a kind of Körperpanzer, as it called in German by Wilhelm Reich. So it is body armor, and you have some kind of psychological trouble of your soul, and it is showing in the contraction of some body parts. And then we can treat them, and then we can work it out, and then we can change to psychoanalysis in a certain sense, but in an easy way, where we say, okay, now we understand it, now we have released the muscles, let's continue playing table tennis and talk like that about your life and history, what may be the trouble, what may be the cause. And even if we discover that, oh yes, you have, this is a big problem you have, you should spend a week working on some biological farm and eating good and forget everything, have good partner, friendship, meet some nice people, meet animals, work with the plants, and forget the whole world for a week of intense training. So, yeah, no problem. I have farmers, I have worked with farmers a lot. It's my passion, because I always love to work with simple instruments in my body, because it's like, if you work in a cow shed, you have 15 cows, so you have to make the everyday chores in the morning and in the evening for the whole winter, somewhere in a nice area in the Alps. And I know these places in Tyrol, in Austria, I know in Germany, in the Bavarian Alps and in the Black Forest. We can go there. and I say, hey, we are here, we help you, and okay, and we pay the farmer maybe something for allowing us to work with his animals, or on the other side he says, okay, I'm so happy that you helped me, I will pay you, okay, oh, you don't know what will happen. So, and then if you work for 1 year like that, oh, you will feel the power of your arms, okay, if you play tennis, you have to coordinate this new power naturally, but you will never get the power in a fitness studio lifting weights like you get if you do the morning and evening chores on a farm for a year, because it's a different kind of muscle motion, different kind of soul experience, different kind of connecting to the over-personal powers of nature. Now these animals, they gave you power if you touch them. No? Okay. So this is it. I hope you understand the direction. If you are then interested, we can relax and talk about it while walking somewhere in the mountains, purely in philosophical terms. No? So this is the introduction. My name is Pavel Janda. I call myself Heros Pavlos because I have my second home on the island of Crete in Greece, and I admire the Hellenic culture and the Minoan culture. So this is also a place where these trainings can take place. Okay, it's a location where these trainings can take place, and or around the Lake Bodensee, or in the Alps, or anywhere, basically anywhere. I hope the COVID quarantine will one day be over, or we have to find a solution for it. Okay, so till then, bye bye.